In this video I'm going to go over some of the basic textures and timbres you see in traditional big band writing. For big band writing I think of the word texture a bit differently than its traditional definition. So I don't mean homophonic or polyphonic. What I mean is, let's think of the big band in sections, what those sections contribute to the overall big band sound, and how you can use and change up these sections for maximum interest. I'll show you examples from some of the great composers and arrangers and how they use these basic ideas to put together great charts. I've got examples from Henry Mancini, Duke Ellington, Glen Miller, Billy Strayhorn, Sammy Nestigo, Bill Holman, and Bob Kurnow. And sorry, there's no John Williams in this one. The first texture we're going to look at is the rhythm section. Piano, guitar, bass and drums. As a group they can happily play along and any one of them could be soloing. It's common to give the horns a rest and have a spot just for the rhythm section in big band charts. Duke often did this with a piano introduction, and Count Basie did it too. Next we'll add the saxophones, and it's common for them to play in unison or octaves, or as a thickened line. By thickened line I mean a harmonized melody usually in close position. The rhythm section can accompany them or sit out. Here's an example from Duke Ellington. It's the saxes playing a thickened line over the bass and drums. The next texture is saxophones playing the melody and the brass supporting with rhythmic figures in unison or chords. This is a really common texture in jazz big band music. Here is Glen Miller's In the Mood, arranged by Joe Garland. Here's another example of that same texture from the Queen Bee, Sammy Nestico's fabulous composition for the Count Basie Band. A variation on this texture is just to have a solo sax or less of the saxophones. Here's an example by Henry Mancini. It's called Dreamville and was written for the TV series Peter Gunn. It's a beautiful alto sax solo over a smooth trombone section. Notice how simple the rhythm section is, supporting but staying well out of the way of the solo sax and trombones. Okay, let's have a look at some examples where the brass have the leading figures. Often the trumpets and trombones will play the same melody or block figures. In this example from I Let a Song Go Out of My Heart, Bill Cunliffe has the whole brass section playing in unison and octaves, whilst the saxophones answer in rhythmic block chords. And in this example you can see how texture changes can make for effective big band phrases. The brass unison and rhythmic sax figures change and join to form a full block tutti to end the 4-bar phrase. We'll talk about timbre changes and tutti sections later. Here's another example of that same texture, and note how the trombones add a nice weight to the bright trumpet sound. It's another example from the Queen Bee. The next timbre is the trumpet section and rhythm section together. The trumpet section on its own is utilized a lot less than the full brass or the saxophone section leading the ensemble. This is partly as they have lots of brightness, but not the same weight as the trombones or saxes. However, it's just another color in your palette. Here are a couple of examples from Duke Ellington. This one is from Pyramid. Here is an example with a solo trumpet leading the ensemble over some thickened line saxophone figures and trombone chords. It's from his marvelous soundtrack for the movie Anatomy of a Murder. Now onto the trombones. Due to their power and richness, trombones can happily lead the big band with a unison melody or harmonized melody. In this example from Pyramid, they play a thickened line as the saxophones and trumpets provide excitement with rhythmic figures. Here is Queen Bee again, with an example of a unison melody in the trombones, which is supported by the saxophones and rhythm section. Now on to tutti sections. It is common in at least one part of a big band piece that there is a full tutti of some sort. This could be in a shout chorus, where the sections are all playing together in the same rhythm, or with the sections in counterpoint to each other. Here's an example where the saxophones, trumpets and trombones are playing the same rhythm. This creates a large percussive sound that is special to a big band. It's such a massive sound that it's a great way to create contrast with other parts of the chart. For instance, in this example from Jeep's Blues by Duke, the loud tutti gives way to a sax solo. It's an effective device. Sometimes you see each section playing their own line, with no particular section dominating the others. The rhythm and different timbre of each section is usually what keeps things sounding relatively clear. Here's an example from Bill Holman's Kingfish, which he wrote for the Stan Kenton Orchestra. And another example with each section playing a different rhythm and a trumpet solo over the top. This is Royal Garden Blues, arranged by Billy Strayhorn. Now this wasn't an exhaustive list of the textures a big band can play, of course. There are numerous solo and mixed ensembles that I haven't touched on, and I'll show you a mixed section example soon. But the textures I've shown are what is most used by a traditional big band music. Using these textures to accentuate contrast and build phrases will easily get you an awesome big band chart. I'll show you what I mean. Here is the Queen Bee again. This example starts with the brass, trumpets and trombones playing a harmonized melody. The saxophones are supporting with a unison line and octaves. Then the saxes answer with a harmonized rhythmic figure before they join together in a tutti. So in these 4 bars there are 2 main textures. Semi-Nestico carefully builds the melody and phrase with the right texture to keep things interesting. In the next phrase we have a contrasting unison octave saxophone melody, which is supported by the trombones. Then the full brass section takes over, before the rhythm section get a small moment, playing a call and response with the harmonized saxes. The rhythm section sets up the next texture change, which is a full big band tutti. This tutti continues with a dramatic shift just for 1 bar to the rhythm section, where the piano plays a fill. It's cool, isn't it? And looking at the textures in this way keeps it really simple. So to end, I'll show you an example of a mixed timbre. In this Bob Kerner arrangement of a Pat Metheny tune, the melody is played by 1 sax, 1 trumpet and 1 trombone. The rest of the band join together for accompaniment figures. If you got any questions, just leave them down below. And if you want to support my work, you can visit my Ko-fi page. I also give online lessons. Thanks, peace.